Okay, so I've been asked to do problem 5 from both worksheets. The top equation up here is called the general form of a circle. And then in red, green, and blue boxes are the 3 points they give us that are on the circle. So if you look for number 1, I put red. I plugged in the -3 for the x's. I plugged in -2 for the y's, and then in green, I plugged in -2 for the x's and -3 for the y's. And in blue, plugged in -4 for the x's and -3 for the y's. Now what I want to do is simplify all these numbers, so I'm going to go ahead and keep them color-coded. So problem number 1, if I take -3 and square it, I get 9, and -2 squared is 4. 4 and 9 is 13, and I am going to subtract that 13 over to the other side where the 0 is. So I get that equation for the number 1. Then for number 2, the second equation, I get 2 squared and 3 squared both give me 13 again, so I get 13 a second time. And I'm going to move that one over to the other side as well. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing for the third equation, number 3. -4 squared is 16, -3 squared is 9, 16 and 9 is 25, and I'm going to subtract that over to the other side. Now, every one of these problems you have today have 2 ordered pairs that have the same y value. So I'm going to be using elimination on these two that you learned back in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. So if I look and I'm going to multiply the blue line by -1. That's going to cause the e's and the f's to all cancel out. So my green line is going to be -2d minus 3e plus f. I'm leaving it exactly the same. And then I'm going to multiply the blue line by -1, which makes all of these positive, or changes all their signs. And then I'm going to add these together, and I'm going to have to move that over here to the right. So when I add these together, 4d minus 2d is going to give me 2d. The e's and the f's all cancel out, and I get that 2d is going to equal 12. So d is 6. So that 6 is all 3 d's in all 3 of those equations. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this red line right here, and I'm going to move it over, but I'm going to put 6 in for the d, which gives me this. And then I'm going to get -18, but I'm going to add that -18 to the other side. And -18 minus 13 will give me a 5 there. And then I'm going to take this green equation. I could have done the blue or the green, doesn't matter, but I'm going to use the green. And I'm actually going to come down here and do this one, down here lower. And I'm going to plug in that 6 for the -2, or sorry, not for the -2, but for the d again, because again, way up here I got d is 6. And -2 times 6 is -12, and I'm going to add that 12 over to the -13. I'm going to stick it under here. And I'm going to use elimination again. Now I am going to do something because I'm running out of space here. is I'm going to multiply the bottom line by -1, which makes this positive, makes that negative, and makes that positive. And then I'm going to add those together, and that's going to give me 1e equals 6 as well. So that gives me up here e is equal to 6. So now I'm going to take that d and that e, and I can plug it into any one of my equations and solve for f. So I'm going to take that 6 and plug it into my red equation, this equation right here. And when I do that, I get -2 times 6 plus f, and that's equal to -13. I'm sorry, that's equal to 5, not -13. That's equal to +5. And that's going to be -12 plus 5, so f is 17 is what I get. So there are my three values, d, e, and f. So that was the first thing we had to do. Then we're supposed to take that answer, and we're going to plug that d, e, and f in for our original problem up here at the top. So I'm going to erase all this stuff because I'm out of room. Again, this is problem 5. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to plug those numbers into my problem way up there. As soon as I get rid of all this stuff. I don't know if I'm going to need to move this over to the other side or not. So when I plug this in, I'm going to get x squared plus y squared plus 6x plus 6y plus 17 equals 0. Now I have to do what's called completing the square. We have done this year before, but we're going to do it again right now. So I need to put all my x's together. And then I need to put all my y's together. And then I got to get that 17 to the other side. I'm going to go ahead and erase these numbers here now because I got to have some more room. And I'm putting blanks up here because I'm going to have to add something to those numbers in order to complete the square. So what I do is I take the number in front of the x and the number in front of the y, which in this case is the same thing, and divide it by 2 and square it. So I must add a 9 in here. So over here on this side, I got to add a 9 to keep it equal. And since those are both 6s, this is a 6 too, I do this exact same thing. So I get another 9 here, which I have to add over here and get a 9. And so way over here on the right, when I add all these numbers together, I end up with a 1. I think I'm going to move that down a little bit. So I got equals 1 over here. Now, I'm going to factor these two things. This thing up by adding those 9s is what's called completing the square. And I square root that first term goes there. The square root of x squared is x. The sign of the middle term goes here, which is plus. And the square root of that 9 goes here, which is 3. And the exact same step for these three values up here. Come down there. So there's my standard form of my circle. So now I'm supposed to tell the center. So the center is, you got to change the sign. So they got +3 here, so I use -3. I got +3 here, so I get -3. And r squared is equal to that 1 right here. So you square root 1 and you get r is 1. And there is the center with the radius. Now I'm not supposed to have to graph on this problem, but I'm going to show you how to graph it. So I go to -3, -3, and put a dot, and that's my center right there. And then I go up one, right one, down one, left one, and I draw a circle around connecting those dots, and that's how you would graph the problem. So that's it.